SLT Fibre and experience the power of fibre technology. Sri Lanka's only super fast internet connection. SLT Fibre. Call 1212 now.
Making headlines tonight. Go with the flow. TNA leader R. Sambandhan says support or opposition will depend on merits of government measures. Right priorities. Minister Chamal Rajapakse says relieving the public burden a priority. Fair prices assured. The Untouchables. UPFA MP Darana Yapa questions integrity and impartiality of the Criminal Investigations Department and the FCID. Revisiting the past, the historic Ruan Valley Saya Stupa gets a brand new Crest Gem in its first makeover since 1939. All this and much more coming up tonight on First at 9, this Tuesday, the 26th of November, 2019.
From AdaDerana, this is AdaDerana First at 9.
Base scene එකෙන් cut වෙන්න. Anti-germ mouthwash සමගින් එන close-up gel එක story එක start කරන්න.
Hi.
Hi.
Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
A historic moment after 80 years in Sri Lanka's history and a new beginning in the cultural landscape. Before we move on to other stories, we begin here. The new Crest Gem of the historic Ruan Valley Saya was unveiled in Anuradhapura today following a series of public viewings throughout the country. Now, the Ruan Valley Saya Stupa, built by legendary King Dutugamunu in 140 BC, is one of Sri Lanka's most venerated religious sites, and this renovation of the historic Stupa's crest marks its first in the new millennium, its last being in 1939.
The historic Ruan Valley Saya Stupa in Anuradhapura received its new crest gem yesterday in a special ceremony attended by a large number of worshippers and members of the Mahasangha. Chief Prelate of the Malvatta chapter, Venerable Tibbatuave Sri Sumangala Thera, placed the crest gem on the top of the stupa yesterday. The crest gem, consisting of 5,320 gemstones and 28 kilograms of gold, was placed on public display throughout the month of November before being officially placed in its final resting place last evening.
Gel scene action. Anti-germ mouthwash සමගින් එන close-up gel එක story එක start කරන්න.
And taking you to political news, leader of the Tamil National Alliance, R. Sambandhan, says that the TNA will continue to sit in the opposition but will make merit-based decisions on the party's support or opposition to the government. Now, he also brushed aside allegations of his endorsement of parliamentarian Sajith Premadasa as the next leader of the opposition, adding that the decision remains entirely up to the United National Party. The TNA leader's remarks came during a media briefing in Trincomalee yesterday.
දරුවාගේ අස්ථි ප්‍රතිශක්ති කරන පද්ධතිය සහ මානසික ක්‍රියා නිසි පරිදි පවත්වාගෙන යාමට දායක වන කැල්සියම්, විටමින් C සහ යකඩ අඩංගු මයිලෝ සමගින් පෝෂණයෙන් ඉදිරියට.
We will sit in the opposition benches. We will continue to be a part of the opposition. We will oppose the government whenever it has to be opposed. This does not necessarily mean that we will oppose the government at all times. If the government needs to be supported or has to be supported in regard to matters which are beneficial to the country, beneficial to the people of the country, we will not hesitate to do so. Our decision will be based upon relevant facts in respect of each issue. There seems to be some views that are prevailing in regard to the position of Speaker of Parliament. At the moment we have a Speaker. When that question does arise and we know who the aspirants are, if we are called upon to vote, we will to the best of our ability make the correct decision at that point of time. There has been some propaganda going on that I have expressed the view that Mr. Sajid Premadasa should be the leader of the opposition. I have expressed no such view. It is my view that is a matter entirely for the United National Party, to be decided internally and must be decided by the UNP. If we have to express our views in regard to this matter at any point of time in the future, we will not hesitate to do so at that point of time.
Now, UPFA parliamentarian Anura Priyadarshana Yapa today accused the Criminal Investigations Department and the Financial Crimes Investigation Division of being partial and wrongfully conducting investigations targeting specific groups. Addressing media at the SLPP headquarters today, the parliamentarian called for immediate action against relevant officers and hidden forces behind them.
පක්ෂග්‍රාහී ලෙස ක්‍රියා කරපු නිශාන්ත් සිල්වා කියන පොලිස් අධිකාරිවරයා රටෙන් පැනලා ගිහලා. ඉහළම පොලිස් නිලධාරීන් කොහොමද දකින්න නැතුව බලාගෙන හිටියේ? කියන්නේ පොලිස් වෙනම අංශයක්ද ඒක අපරාධ පරීක්ෂණ දෙපාර්තමේන්තුව අනික් අංශ වලින් සම්බන්ධ නුනු. එතකොට ඒකට තියෙනවා පොලිස්පතිවරයෙක් ඉන්නවා, DIG මහත්තුරු ඉන්නවා. මම අහන්නේ ඒගොල්ලෝ මේ පිළිබඳව වගකීමක් තිබුණේ නැද්ද කියලා. බහැරව තිබුණු කෑල්ලක්ද ඒ අපරාධ පරීක්ෂණ දෙපාර්තමේන්තුව කාටවත් අත් දාන්න බැරි එකක්ද? ඒ තත්ත්වයට අද පැහැදිලිව පේනවා ඒවා පක්ෂග්‍රාහී ලෙස තෝරාගත් පුද්ගලයන් අමාරුවේ දාන්න හදාගත්ත ක්‍රමයන් හැටියට තමයි මේ නිලධාරී ක්‍රියා කළා තියෙන්නේ. ඒ නිසා අපි ඉල්ලා හිටනවා වහාම නීත්‍යානුකූල පරීක්ෂණ කරලා මේ සම්බන්ධ නිලධාරීන් වෙනවා ඔවුන්ට ක්‍රියා කරන්න කියලා. මොකද අපිට අවශ්‍යයි සාධාරණ යුක්තිගරුක පොලිසියක්. ඒ වගේම විශේෂයෙන් පසුගිය කාලේ FCID එක බාරව හිටපු නියෝජ්‍ය පොලිස්පතිවරයා ඉතාමත් වැදගත් තොරතුරු රාශියක් කිව්වා. ඔය කිව්වා යම් යම් අයගේ උමනායපකම් මත යම් යම් අය ඉලක්ක කරගනිමින් පරීක්ෂණ පවත්වන්න උන්ට අන ලැබුණා කියලා. මේ හැම ආයතනයක්ම යම් යම් අයව ඉලක්ක කරගනිමින් හදපු ආයතන. ඒ නිසා මේ ආයතන කරපු පරීක්ෂණ සියල්ලම වැරදිසහගත පරීක්ෂණ හැටියටයි මට පේන්නේ.
Minister of Mahabali Development, Agriculture and Trade Chamal Rajapakse held a special crisis meeting with the ministry officials and staff soon after assuming official duties in an effort to pinpoint issues that require urgent attention. Fielding questions regarding his official policy, Minister Chamal Rajapakse revealed that the focus of the ministry will remain in introducing measures to reduce unfair economic burdens borne by the general public.
Minister of Mahabali Development, Agriculture and Trade Chamal Rajapakse held a crisis meeting with officials and staff of the ministries under his purview in order to highlight areas of urgent attention.
ඉදිරියේදී උත්සව සමයේදී ඔබතුමාගේ පත්වීමත් සමග හාල් වල මිල ගණන් වල මොකක් හරි වෙනසක් සිද්ධ වෙයිද කොහොමද? දෙසැම්බර් ජනවාරි වෙනකොට සහල් මිල රටේ ඉහළට යනවා. දැන් සාකච්ඡා කරේ කොහොමද සාධාරණ මිලකට පාරිභෝගිකයාට මිලදී ගන්න මට්ටමක සහල් මිල අත්‍යවශ්‍ය ආහාර තියාගන්න කියන එක. ඒ වගේම මේමයි දැන් ඉතින් වී එක්කෙනෙකුට පුළුවන් වී මුළු ලංකාවේ තියෙනම තොගය නිෂ්පාදනය මිලදී ගන්න. එතකොට එයා ඒක ස්ටොක් කරගෙන ඉන්නවා නම් කෘත්‍රිම සහල් හිඟයක් මවා පෑවොත් අපි පසුබට වෙන්නේ නැහැ. පාරිභෝගිකයා ගැන හිතලා ඒවා ආනායන බදු සහන දීලා ගේන්න. ඇත්තටම සතුස්ස පාඩු ලබන ආයතනයක්ද?
සතුස්ස ඉස්සර නම් පාඩු ලැබලා නැහැ. දැන් මෑතකට නම් යම් හේතු නිසා පාඩු ලැබුවා කියලා වාර්තා තමයි තියෙන්නේ. ඒකත් අපි නිවැරදි කරන්න අවශ්‍ය තීන්දුව తీරන ගන්නවා.
මෙහි තියෙන අයථා සිදුවීම් ගැන අහගෙන හිටියා. සමහරට හඳුනාගෙන තිබෙනවාද මෙහි ඉන්න සේවකයන්ගේ වෙනසක් සිදු කිරීමට මෙහි පරිපාලන වෙනසක් කිරීමට හඳුනා ගැනීමක් සිදු කරලා තියෙනවා. අවශ්‍ය තැන්දී අවශ්‍ය වෙනස් වීම් සිදු වෙනවා. වරදක් කරා නම් ඒක පිළිබඳව නීත්‍යානුකූලව කටයුතු කරනවා. තව තිබුණා යම් ත්‍රස්තවාදී කණ්ඩායම් වලට වාහන සපයලා තියෙනවා එක ආයතන කියලා. ඉතින් ඒව ගැන සොයන්න ඕන. ජීවන කමිටුව මෙතෙක් කලක් රැස් වෙලා තියෙන්නේ සුමාන 2කට සැරයක්. අද මම තීන්දුවක් ගත්තා ඒක සතියකට සැරයක් සෑම සතියෙම අමාත්‍ය මණ්ඩලය පවත්වන දිනයට පෙර දින ජීවන වියදම් කමිටුව රැස් වෙලා ඒ පිළිබඳව තොරතුරු ලබා ගන්න. මාධ්‍ය විසිනුත් වාර්තා කරලා සමහර තැන්වලදී සතොස්ස ගබඩාවල හාල් සවුත් වෙලා විනාශ වෙලා යන සම්බන්ධව සත්වාහාර වලට ගහින් කරනවා කියන අපරාධනේ පරිභෝජනයක් විදිහට මොන වගේ ක්‍රියාමාර්ග ගන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ? තමුන්නාන්සලාට ඉතින් පුළුවන් මගේ අමාත්‍යාංශයට තියෙන ඕනම තැන ගිහිල්ලා කරුණු සොයලා උකුස්වාගාවට යන්න ඉස්සෙල්ලා මට ඇවිල්ලා කියලා දෙන්න.
Minister of Passenger Transport Management, Power and Energy Mahinda Amaraveera says that the country's fuel price formula is expected to be revoked soon. Commenting to media, the minister stated that the current government will do anything that may cause difficulties for the Sri Lankan people and remove those obstacles. The minister stated that no resources in the country is to be sold or leased out to foreign countries, and instead all resources will be utilized effectively for the benefit of the country. He added that this move comes at a time in the country where both the President and the Prime Minister are fully committed to fulfilling the people's expectations, and hence nothing would be done outside of wishes of the people of this nation. Following the unauthorized flight of CID sleuth Nishant De Silva recently, complaints were lodged with the CID warning of more flights by individuals involved in major frauds. Two organizations, namely the Truth Seekers and the Buddhist Information Center, met with CID officials to request immediate action to prevent more escapes from the law.
The convener of the organisation dubbed Truth Seekers, Premanath Sidulavatta, spoke to media after making his complaint against the chairman of the State Pharmaceutical Corporation, Dr. Mohammad Hashim Mohammad Rumi, at the Criminal Investigations Department.
ජනාධිපති කොමිෂන් සභාවකින් වැරදිකාරයෝ වෙච්ච මොහමඩ් රූමි දැන් පිටත් වෙන්නයි හදන්නේ. පයින්ඩයි යන්නේ. කඩිනමින් අපරාධ පරීක්ෂණ දෙපාර්තමේන්තුවෙන් ඉල්ලා සිටිනවා මේ මොහමඩ් රූමි කියන ඖෂධ මාෆියාවේ ගෝඩ් ෆාදර් කෙනෙක් කිව්වොත් නිවැරදි. යම් මේකින් මෙයා රට අතහැරලා රටෙන් පැනලා ගියොත් අපරාධ පරීක්ෂණ දෙපාර්තමේන්තුව වක් කියන්නේ.
Meanwhile, the Buddhist Information Center made a written request to the Ministry of Defence to establish a separate unit to arrest politicians and businessmen investigated for fraud.
අපි ආරක්ෂක ලේකම්තුමන්ගෙන් අද දවසේ ඉල්ලීමක් කරනු ලැබුවේ පොලිස් දෙපාර්තමේන්තුවත් ආරක්ෂක අමාත්‍යාංශයත් ඒකාබද්ධව විශේෂ ඒකකයක් පිහිටවලා එවැනි සැක කටයුතු නිලධාරීන් සහ දේශපාලකයන් රටින් පිටවීම වැළැක්වීම පිණිස විශේෂ ඒකකයක් පිහිටවීමට අවශ්‍ය ප්‍රතිපාදන යොදන ලෙසයි.
The main suspect in the Rajiv Gandhi case on parole. We'll bring you details after this short break. Welcome back to the news. The main suspect in the Rajiv Gandhi assassination case, Sri Lankan national Robert Payas, walked out of the prison for the first time after 28 years on a 30-day parole. He was released from the Pulal Central Prison based on a Madras High Court order granting him relief to make arrangements for the marriage of his son. Imprisoned since August 16th of 1991, Payas, a Sri Lankan national, is serving a life sentence along with 6 other convicts. According to the court order, Payas is expected to surrender to jail authorities at 5 p.m. on the 24th of December. Transparency International Sri Lanka today launched a web platform named peps.lk, an online database of politically exposed persons in Sri Lanka. Now, the website has been set up in an effort to provide the public with transparent access to asset declarations of public officials and to facilitate the monitoring of such officials in order to promote accountability.
With the launch of peps.lk today, what we can see is Sri Lanka's first politically exposed person register. Why is it important to have a register like this? We are continuously striving to ensure that asset disclosures of senior public officials are in the public domain. As soon as we get that information in the public domain, we are committed to putting it up onto this web platform for people to be able to actually monitor it and hold people accountable. But beyond that, the other key thing that we get from peps.lk is that for the first time, we have in one place the entire structure of state-owned owned enterprises and all of their subsidiaries. It's important because Sri Lanka, until very recently, had been on the grey list of something called the Financial Action Task Force. That has huge economic consequences. When we're looking at economic growth moving forward, it is essential that all of these issues around this grey list, which are predominantly anchored around being considered a country susceptible to money laundering, it's essential that we try and solve those money laundering concerns and issues going forward. So this is a key step going forward. This is the first time this sort of information is public.
A large-scale rice adulteration racket was detected by the Derana Ukusa team at a rice mill in Polonnaruwa. The Ukusa investigative team, going undercover at the rice mill in question, captured employees in the process of mixing expired rice with new batches at the time. Now, at the mill, the expired rice containing worms and flies was subjected to necessary polishing and cleaning and then mixed with the new rice manually using shovels. The rice was then packed and stored in a warehouse before being distributed to shops for public consumption. National security, food security and Sri Lanka as an information technology hub were the key topics of discussion during President Gotabaya Rajapakse's first foreign media interview after his election as Sri Lanka's 7th executive president. Speaking to the editor-in-chief of Strategic International News India, the president outlined his plans for rebuilding Sri Lankan and key areas of concern in line with his development vision for Sri Lanka.
What is your priority as Sri Lanka's new president?
We have given our policy to the people. In that we have identified certain areas that we have to act upon. Number one is ensure the security of this country and the people. So I had to readjust certain things in these institutions, especially in the military and also the intelligence agencies. Next one is the economy. That's very important at this time. The past government did not give enough priority to national security. Probably they misunderstood the importance of national security to bring economic stability. And there were things happening on the national intelligence side. The previous government did not give this authority to the military intelligence. So they were more or less not involved for the last so many years where we had terrorism in this country. In that, major role of intelligence was played by the Directorate of Military. So it's difficult immediately to stop that and give it to another.
What are your broad plans for economy?
We have to understand agriculture and plantation is very important to us. Any country in the world cannot forget the food security. It's very important. So we can't depend on outside. It's in our culture and it's an area where we can develop. Today, there's a lot of technology. Whatever the successive governments had many plans on improving agriculture, but still the farmer is poor. So this is where we have to help. But today, there are enough technology in the world with less investment, get more income, more production, and also to develop the agriculture-based industries. So make the farmer an entrepreneur. Because of poor management and other areas, that income of these things have gone down. So we have to focus on these things. And the other thing, I'm very interested in developing our economy on technology. 21st century is known as knowledge
century.
Based century. Our industrial base is not that huge. We have small industries on high tech, but it's not at a higher level. And also we don't have much of natural resources. But what is important is we have a very skillful, easily trainable human resource. So that is where we have to focus. Foreign direct investments is important. So we have to encourage the business people. But my requirement is to these high-tech companies to come and invest in Sri Lanka. So therefore, for them it's beneficial to invest in Sri Lanka on these areas.
Fitch Ratings has affirmed Ceylon Electricity Board's national long-term rating at AA+ Lanka with a stable outlook. The ratings on CEB, which is 100% state-owned, is equalized with that of the Sri Lankan sovereign B stable rating, reflecting strong linkages with the parent in line with Fitch's parent and subsidiary rating linkage criteria. The equalization takes into consideration the CEB's strategic importance to Sri Lanka in ensuring power security and supply of affordable electricity to the general public.
The Fitch Ratings assessment of the Ceylon Electricity Board is based primarily on its strong linkages with the state, reflecting explicit guarantees and financial support through equity infusions, debt funding and guaranteeing CEB project loans, which account for around 80% of its debt. The report states that CEB's strategic importance to the state stems from its position as the country's sole grid operator, distributor and generator of 80% of its electricity. In its list of key assumptions, the assessment highlights an increase in annual demand averaging 7% through 2019 to 2021, no material increase in electricity tariffs in the next 12 to 15 months, maintaining its current generation mix, and capital expenditure to remain at Rs 90 to 100 billion per year, mainly spent on generation capacity. Further rating sensitivity states that any upgrade in the sovereign's long-term issuer default ratings could result in a corresponding action on the CEB's long-term IDR. The same will apply in the case of any downgrade to the sovereign IDR. The report also expects the government to step in to fund the CEB's capital expenditure on generation upgrades due to its continuing operating losses.
Taking you to the Colombo Stock Exchange, the shares recovered today from a more than 1 week closing low in the previous session as investors picked up beverage and manufacturing shares. The benchmark all share price index ended 0.18% up, edging higher from its lowest close since November 15th, hit on Monday. Analysts believe that there is a high possibility of another rate cut to address sluggishness in the economy, despite rate cuts in May and August of this year. Meanwhile, the Sri Lankan rupee ended 0.36% weaker at 181.50 to 90 cents today. Here's a brief look at how markets performed during the day.
In the bond market, the secondary market yield curve shifted slightly upwards with the profit taking, while overall market witnessed moderate volumes during the day. First Capital Research believed that door is open for a rate cut, considering the need to address the sluggishness in the economic activity despite the 50 bp rate cut each in May and August 2019. The external outlook is favouring Sri Lanka, and easing political uncertainty and positive macro environment policies provides opportunity for monetary easing despite the risk in lower liquidity position. We do not rule out a possibility of a rate cut, though at a lower probability of 40% in November. However, we are more biased towards a rate cut in December 2019, considering the risk in lower liquidity position.
That's all from us. Thank you for watching. Good night.